Does my voice sound better today?
Yeah, it does, as a matter of
Well,
fact.
it was messed up this morning.
Yeah, but you've been resting some, and now you can say, good morning.
Good morning. I don't even have the mic on.
Oh my gosh.
Michael's way over there, so I don't know if you guys can hear or not.
He's dropping the ball, you guys.
That's weird.
Weirdo.
So, good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
I won't know if you could hear the mic over there until we finish this video. See this ring? It's my wedding ring. It's heavy. Not because of weight, but what it signifies. It's heavy.
I took mine off. Well, because when I get really swollen and I was washing dishes and I get really swollen, my hands start to swell up, so I took it off a little while ago.
You know what I mean when I say that? Because I say words are heavy.
Yeah.
So today is Tuesday morning, and we are here once again.
Amen.
With an exciting video.
Amen. And I'm really, really bright today. I have a bright future.
That's funny.
And then my honey can never lose me because he'll always be able to find me because I'm very bright. You don't like my jokes?
Yeah. You want me to start coughing?
No, I don't want you to start coughing.
All right. So, I'm really glad that I don't do a preacher voice when I do these videos.
I'm really glad you don't either. I'm glad that you're just yourself.
You know, when I first would go live on Facebook Live, when Facebook Live first started.
I sometimes get loud though.
What do you mean?
I do sometimes get loud.
Oh, but in the first, when Facebook Live first came out, and I'd be driving, and then I'd have a thought, and I'd pull over. I haven't looked back, but I think I would go into preacher mode, and I realized how obnoxious that is.
What's preacher mode to you?
I don't know. You talk I think. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think people on YouTube, you like to be talked to, not preached to. Now, it's different if you're watching a sermon, because when I watch a sermon, I want to hear a sermon, you know? Mm-hmm. But when I'm listening to a YouTuber or somebody on YouTube talking, I don't want them to yell at me. Just be normal the way you would talk. The way we talk is the way we'll talk if we're at Starbucks or having coffee somewhere. Just a little tidbit, guys. Don't do the preacher thing. It's just be real and be yourself, you know? And I don't know.
Stop laughing, you're gonna cough.
I know.
Okay. So, today has been a very, it's our Monday, and today is our very usual Monday, which was really, really good, because I think we needed the rest, especially David. He really needed the rest to get over this little cold and
I don't
stuff.
have a cold.
Oh, yes. So, but anyways, we did need the rest. So I'm really glad that we were able to take in that rest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the verse we're going to read today.
We're going to go back to Jeremiah. I preached in Jeremiah Sunday. And then yesterday's video was about Jeremiah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to go back to Jeremiah chapter 1 because it's really key of something we were talking about a little while ago.
Okay.
And Jeremiah.
You're probably saying these two really like to sit there and talk about. Yeah, every day we do find ourselves talk about, the things of the Bible and the things of God. And every day we do this is what our conversations are every day. Every day. No, yes, we do every day.
Yeah, but it's not all we talk about.
No, it's not all, but I mean, every day that we constantly find ourselves talking about things that we hear, about things that we listen to, because we do find ourselves listening to either a sermon or somebody talking about something about the Lord or about or something that they're sharing about God, and then we reference it or we give our opinion on it, and then we go back and forth on it, and we come to either our agreement or we come into our little debate about it. And I love it because what it does open into communication for us.
Yeah.
And that's the nice thing. So that's what I mean about every day we do have our communication, our spiritual communication, and that's important because every day we're lifting up God by being able to do that every day, and just and I think that's really, really important. So when I say that, that's what I mean. Amen? Cool. All right.
So the reason I brought this verse up is one of the things I brought up was I was talking about Michael Jordan, who I consider one of the best basketball players to ever exist. Not only that, but an inspiration because he didn't even make his basketball team in high school the first time he tried. And actually that's what made something snap in him, and he would practice for hours and hours and hours and hours in his yard, in his backyard where his dad had set up a hoop. And what's crazy is that his mom and his dad were short. I mean, not short, but just average height. And he was like, I don't know his exact height, but like even his siblings were short. Only he was tall. And I'm just like, that's so weird. Like, what if he had liked basketball but ended up short? Like, all these things came into play that, like, I do believe some people, or, well, I don't want to say some, but we're all called for something. Mm-hmm. And it's just interesting how all these elements happen to where Michael Jordan was able to become the Michael Jordan we know. His childhood, the parents he was given, the principles he was taught, the failures he faced, just all these things shaped him.
But what's so weird is that when you say the principles he was taught, the failures he went through, and just a lot of different things, I would think that coming from the same parents, the same everything, that those principles that he was taught were the same principles that were taught to every child in that same home. The same failures that he went through in that home are the same failures that all the children that the family went through together. They went through everything together collectively, but individually, what he went through, maybe in school or in different...
I meant his failures as far as trying to make the team.
Okay, yeah, so...
That was a personal failure of his.
Yeah, so I think that's a different than the principles that he was taught and all of that, because there's difference. So I think you need to make that...
I'm not sure what you mean, because principles...
Because I just took it because we're talking about what he was born into. And
all of that shapes us.
Well, of course.
For instance, my dad had principles of a working man. I became a drug dealer. So I was still within those principles, but I didn't follow those principles. So, but it shapes us. Mm-hmm. It shapes everything about us, because you can very well have principles taught to you and do wrong, but it's wrong. Mm-hmm. Compared to another home, there is no principles. They do wrong and they don't even see it. So even that within itself, like, there's so many different aspects of inner influence, outer influence, your own character, all of these things, yet God gives you a gift. And it's crazy because it's like that gift has to somehow be watered to rise above this stuff.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like, it makes me wonder, I guess, if Michael Jordan had a different dad, would it have been different? Or if he had the same dad, but he had gotten in the team, would he have just been a guy that played high school basketball and just moved on? Because it's because he wasn't didn't make the team that created this fire in him. So, like, what if little things had changed? And anyways, it's just an interesting thought, right? I'm choosing Michael Jordan because the world knows about him, but I mean, I think that applies to every single person. And then anyways, in Jeremiah, it's interesting here, right? Because right here in chapter 1, verse 4. Well, actually, let's go to verse 1. It said, the words of Jeremiah, the son of Hilkiah, of the priests who were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin. So we know now that Jeremiah was a Levite. He was in a priestly family. He was born into a priestly family. And then anyway, it goes down to verse 4. And it says, then the word of the Lord came to me saying, so this is what God told the prophet. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations. Read that.
On 4?
Yeah, one, and then jump to 4 and 5.
Okay, mine's 1 through 4 here. The message of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, of the family of priests who lived in Anathoth, in the country of Benjamin. God's message began to come to him during the 13th year that Josiah, son of Ammon, reigned over Judah. It continued to come to him during the time Jehoiakim, son of Josiah, reigned over Judah. And it continued to come to him clear down the 5th month of the 11th year of the reign of Zedekiah, son of Josiah, over Judah, the year that Jerusalem was taken into exile. This is what God said.
Now read 5.
Before I shaped you in the womb, I knew all about you. Before you saw the light of day, I had holy plans for you. A prophet to the nations. That's what I had in mind for you.
Yeah, so, he straight up told Jeremiah, while you were still being shaped in the womb, when you were just 2 cells, I already knew you.
Yeah.
So that tells us.
Well, I'm led to believe before he even created those 2 cells, he already knew what he was going to put in there. He put in that womb.
Well, look what he says. He was before I shaped you.
Before I shaped you in the womb.
So even then,
before you became in existence.
Yeah, I love the fact that God says that, because that tells us something. That tells us that God is what shapes you when you were conceived. Because he says here, before I shaped you in the womb. If somebody says, well, that's Jeremiah. Well, let me remind you what Scripture says. The Bible says that he's no respecter of anyone. What does that mean? It means that he treats everyone the same and sees everyone the same. The Bible also said that he's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So if he was shaping in the womb Jeremiah then, that means he shapes in the womb us now. And he says, before I shaped you. Actually, you're right. Because he says the word before.
Before I shaped you in the womb.
Before you were even conceived.
Yeah, before you even came in existence.
Yeah.
He already knew what you were before he even thought of even putting you into that womb. He already had those plans planned out.
Yeah. And which leads me now, even more of what I was talking about. So in other words, he knew who Jeremiah was before he gave Jeremiah to his parents. And he says, okay, Jeremiah, he's gonna be a prophet to the nations. So therefore, I have to place him in the home of a priest. Right? In
the womb of the woman of the home of this priest, yes?
Yes. So that actually solidifies my point, is that even in Esther, Esther's uncle tells him, how do you not know?
Mordecai.
Yeah, Mordecai, how do you not know that you are here in this position for such a time as this? That God put you here for this very reason now. The reason you're alive today is because God put you here to be alive today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this led to our conversation about gifts. Is that, I don't know if everybody believes this, but I did at first, is that once I became a Christian, then it was like, oh, let me find my gift. What gift did God give me? I don't believe that now. I believe I was born with my gifts. whether I use them for right or wrong, I was born with that gift or gifts, and you were born with your gifts.
Amen.
And it's weird because now, like, think about it. I grew up in a time with no internet. Well, we did. We grew up in a time with no microwaves. At least I did. We grew up in a time with no technology in the sense of now. Yet I see now things God prepared me for back then as a child. You know, I never told you this, but like, I loved comic books. I think I've shared with you, I loved Sergeant Rock.
Yeah,
Right?
you did.
Every single month, my mom would take me to, I would go to the grocery store, and she always bought me Sergeant Rock, the comic book. I wasn't into so much superheroes or nothing, but I always bought Sergeant Rock. It was based on World War II, right? And I remember my parents would take these cassettes, the cassette player, like the little boom boxes, and they would go to church and hit record so they can hear the sermons later, because there was no video cameras back then. So the only way to rehear a sermon was to take a cassette and, you know, you'd hit record and play at the same time, and they would record.
Yeah. I remember that.
So I would hear my parents, you know, listening to sermons throughout the week. They would hear it again. Or they would record the worship. So that way they can hear the worship songs, you know, all the time. So I learned how to use that recorder. And I would read my comic books and reenact the voices of the soldiers and the blast and the grenades and the shooting. And I basically made an audible. I did this all the time. My mom remembers. And now I find myself doing audibles. Yeah. And knowing how to project my voice, and knowing how to speak, and knowing how to fluctuate my voice as I'm reading it, or even more so into preaching, you know. And it just like all this stuff's coming to my mind now. All the little things, like you just mentioned, a little business card.
Yeah, like little, you know, and even and I even take it even further. I think I was maybe like 5, 6, 7 years old, and I remember there used to be a show called Putting on the Ritz, I believe, and Hot Lips. There used to be a lip syncing show, and I remember that I would run and I would always go get dressed up, and I would come back and I'd come with a hairbrush and I would audition in the living room, telling my mom that one day I was going to be in that show, because I would love to sing, and I just wanted to sing.
Oh yeah.
And I'd be like, one day I'm going to go audition for that show. And I'd just be sitting there singing away, and I'd be singing, and I just wanted to sing. And it was just a lip syncing. You wouldn't even be able to sing on that show. Yeah. It was all lip syncing. But I loved it, you know, and it was something that I loved to do. And I was so little, you know, I didn't know any better. And who would have known that my desire that I had, it was something that I had, that little bit of music, you know, in me. And here I am today. I love to worship. Worship is what touches in depth in my soul. It does something. Yeah. That's my form of praise to the Lord. I love, you know, just for you to open up the Bible and read, it breaks you. To me, worship is what breaks me. Yeah. It's, you know, my form of my communication with God is just worship. It's tremendous. And I love to sing unto my papa, you know. That's just amazing. And when I was like 10 or 11, I used to do little business cards. I used to grab a little stamp, and I'd stamp my little name on there with a little rubber, like a little rubber that I'd made out of rubber, a little stamp, and it'd say, you know, fashioned by Sharon. And, you know, I'd have my little cards, and I'd sew my little headbands and everything. And I was a little entrepreneur.
Who would you give the cards to?
To different people. Like my mom would have friends over, and I'd make little headbands for them. And my mom would laugh, because when I was a young mom, I would make my own clothes at that age, because I couldn't fit into pregnancy clothes. So I made my own matching pregnancy outfits. So you'd see the most fashionable pregnant young girl at that age, you know, with their matching headbands and everything. But I was always self-sufficient and very into being a little entrepreneur in leadership and having the administrative skills at such a young age. And I mean, sometimes God has a reason why he gives us our talents, knowing that later on we're going to use it for his glory and for his purpose.
When I got a little older, and this is when I was a kid, I would do these comic book audible things. I think my mom still has some.
Really?
Yeah. And I was a little older, I would have goldfish as a kid. But I remember going to, it must have been my dentist, and it was an aquarium. And I was just fascinated by this aquarium because all we had was goldfish bowls. Just a regular bowl.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, but my parents bought me a 5-gallon aquarium. And it had the little filter, everything, a couple little plants and stuff. And oh man, I was so excited because I could actually now buy something more than goldfish, because a goldfish you can keep without a heater, but tropical fish, you gotta have a heater. You can't put a heater in a goldfish bowl. But now the little kid came with a heater, and I actually got into fish. So my mom would always take me to the library in Tracy, and I would check books out on fish. And I started learning their names and where they came from and all these things, right? So I was always getting this book. You know how I am now? I want to learn everything about something.
Yes.
That's where that came from as a kid. Anyways, I don't want to prolong the story, but I don't know, maybe a year into being an Aquarius, where I thought I was as a kid, I thought I was an aquarium expert. I started writing a book. Like I started writing a book about fish in aquariums, and I would be like, okay, here's a guppy, and then I would go to the library to get a copy machine and make a Xerox, and I'd cut it out, and I'd put a picture of a guppy, and then I'd write the full name of it, the real scientific name of it, and I'd be like, this is a guppy, and this is named whatever, and they come from the Amazon, and blah blah blah.
Wow.
Like I write a whole paragraph, so every page was on a different type of fish. The things
now
that I was
you're
learning.
doing it for God's purpose.
Well, now I publish books.
Yeah.
So, anyways, there's things that it's not that you're waiting on the gifts from God. The gifts are already given to you.
Yes.
When I see...
They need to be pulled out.
Yeah. When
Yes.
I remember when I see the Grammys all my life, and some artist would say, I want to thank God. In a sense... It's true. God gave them that gift.
Yeah. Amen.
But they were using it for the world.
I was really happy.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
They were using it for the world.
Yeah.
But it was still a gift. Just because it wasn't gospel.
Yeah.
I believe Michael Jackson, Prince, all of them, it's a God-given gift, but they chose to use it for fame and for the world.
Yeah. The other day I seen one of the sisters that watches us here, Olivia, who was doing a live on her poetry, and it really, really blessed me, because a lot of the times I think that we become a little bit dormant on our gifts, or sometimes we become a little shy, or we become a little timid on sharing with the world, because we get kind of scared on what the world is going to say about when we expose our gifts, And, I got to say this. Sometimes you just got to go out and share your gifts without caring what the world is going to say. Because if God has gifted you with something, he's gifted you with something that you're capable to, and he's given you that gift for a purpose. And that's the main thing, that he's gifted you for a purpose, and you got to believe that and know it, and you got to trust the process and why he's gifted you, and just be bold enough to share it, Because if we're bold enough to share, then you're going to start seeing the reasons why he has gifted you. So I was really happy to see her share that, because it blessed me when I started to hear her poetry and stuff. And you're never going to know who it's going to bless until you begin to share those gifts. You're not going to know who it's going to touch, who it's going to bless, who it's going to reach, if it's going to ever bring salvation to somebody. You're never going to know what it's going to do until you begin to share those gifts.
Now, here's another thing, though, is a lot of us have been through hardships. But if you really think about it, many times it's out of those hardships that your gift and your calling reveals itself.
Yeah.
You know, like a story Sharon has said many times is that, you know, she had a cheesecake business, but that would have never happened if it wasn't for a situation that forced it. Mm-hmm. Right? You know, is there any way you could just quickly share that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Topsy cheesecake was actually born out of hardship. I'll share super quick. I was going through a lot of hardship. As everybody knows, I love to cook, I love to bake, and that's something that I just love to do. But there was a year back in 2010, between 2010 and 2011, that I was going through a lot of hardship. And I remember my son wanted to have like a birthday party, could not give it to him. And I could not afford a cake for him. And I figured, you know, I'm going to go to a pantry, one of the church pantries that actually give you food and stuff like that. And I ended up going to one of those church pantries, and they gave me cream cheese, a lot of cream cheese. They always give you a lot of barley flour. They gave me some food items and everything. And I was able to make him a really nice dinner out of what they gave me. And I made a cheesecake. And, you know, and I made a 3-layer cheesecake. It was a good size. I'm going to say it's a really good size cheesecake. I'm going to say over 3 pounds of a cheesecake. And it was really nice because I couldn't, you know, make a cake out of what I had, but I was able to make a nice cheesecake. And he's like, you know, can I invite some friends over? And I was like, yeah. So we invited 3 friends that day. And, you know, I remember I took some pictures and I was going to put it on Facebook. I hadn't yet. But when his friends came over, they were like, wow, this is really nice. Man, my mom would really like one of these. You know, can I buy one of these from you? And when they said that, I was like, I should put this on Facebook. And I did. And I remember that, you know, I immediately started getting a lot of responses on Facebook, like saying, wow, Sister Sharon, that's really, really nice. You know, do you sell these? Can I buy one from you? And this was on September 26th of that year. And, you know, Thanksgiving wasn't so far away from there. And immediately within that month and a half, I had so many orders. So by November, I had at least 800 pieces already ordered by that time. And I literally by December was close to 1,000. That was it for me. Things just began to, I had like my family helping me in my kitchen, in my living room. I had orders coming out. I had cheesecake minis, the big ones. I was just taking so many orders. I had like production coming out of my kitchen and living room. And I just went for it. And that's how the Topsy cheesecake began. That's how it was born. You know, and I remember that when I moved here with David, I was like, yeah, I'm going to start my bakery here in Northern California. But unfortunately, it was too expensive to find a location out here. Yeah. So I have not been able to do that, unfortunately. But I love baking. I love what I do. It's been a blessing. And one day, you know, God will allow me that opportunity to do something. But if not, it's okay. I will continue to bake for my friends and family, but I'm blessed, you know?
I mean, the point of it all, though, is that it was out of that struggle.
Yes, absolutely.
That something came out of it, you know? And even the things you do or there's hobbies you find or things get found out of struggle or out of, you know? I
learned how to cook out of struggle.
So...
absolutely.
So a lot of times, you know, don't sit there trying to beat yourself up saying, when is God going to give me a gift? All you got to do is look at the gifts you've already been given, and direct them toward God. That's it. That's all you got to do. Look at the Apostle Paul. He was a stubborn guy. He was a religious guy. He liked learning, and he was he was a good teacher and an influencer. So what happened? God says, I'm going to use you. I'm not going to give you good gifts. I'm just going to redirect you for my glory.
Amen.
You know, so whether you're a singer, a teacher, an encourager, It doesn't matter what it is. Find what it is you've been good at all your life and say, okay, I've been good at this and this and this. How can I use this for God?
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I don't think half of the things we're able to do, we'd be able to do if we did not have the gift that God gave us, you know, with the budgets that we have and everything, you know. I think God has truly, you know, blessed us and given us the opportunity to do that. Like, you know, even this Bible study that I was able to put together and everything, you know, if I had to go out there and do that through a company or something, that would have costed so much, you know, and it would have been so much more expensive. But because God has given me the gift to be able to do that and put that together myself, you know, he's like, here, I've gifted you. I've given you the opportunity and the ability to do it. And I've showed you how to do that. You know, I want you to do this and be able to provide it for these women. And see, and that's what I hope to do. I hope to be able to teach other women to be able to do that. I want to be able to show people how you can do that. There's so many women out there who desire to be leaders, and so many pastors' wives and everything that desire to do that kind of stuff. And if God's gifted me to do that, I want to teach other people to be able to do that too, because there's the capability for us to be able to do that and not think that you have to have so much to be able to do little things like that, so that we can share the gospel.
Yeah.
There's just so much. We just got to pull it out of us. Let's pull out those gifts, guys, and let's use them.
Yee.
Oh, see, one day of you, I miss your silliness.
What are you talking about? I wasn't being silly.
Yeah, you were.
That was super serious. Super sad.
Margaret.
Yeah, I guess that's it, right?
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Pull those gifts out. Well, I didn't mean like Christmas gifts or anything, you guys. The spiritual gifts and all those special gifts that God gives you. That's what I mean.
We're still going forward with the online leadership school platform. Still going forward with that, you know, and just still learning, because like it's gonna, I want it done right.
Yes, because there has a lot to needs to be put into this noggin.
So what's going to be cool is that it'll be through your phone or through a laptop. You'll be able to access whether it's video or audio or PDFs or presentations, PowerPoint presentations. I mean, it's just going to be these courses that I'm super, super excited, you know.
You know what's pretty cool? That the women's Bible, the women of God Bible study is going to be the first one. That's
guinea pig. So I can put that together. The Who Are You identity, the one we did a seminar for, that's going to be the next one right after yours.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were confused, and they thought that when you sent out that thing about the seminar and you put about that when we were making the books and everything, I think they were confused thinking that you were selling the book.
Yeah, no.
And I think that's one thing that you should have clarified, that you were not selling the book, because that went hand in hand with the seminar.
This book here makes no sense without the seminar. It's literally a book of Bible verses. It's just really like, you don't even need this book to do the identified identity in Christ, but you're going to end up having to write down a lot of verses. So this basically has them written down for you. But just unto itself, it makes no sense.
Yeah. You need to be there, or you need to be part of that seminar. You just need to be there to be able to apply everything that is spoken about, so that you can be able to take notes and be able to have it go hand in hand with the teaching. It's important to have that, and that's just something to give you that guidance at the same time. So the book would not really make much sense to you unless you're having the teaching at the same time. So for those of you that have been asking, we would not want to give that to you and for you not to understand and be like, why are you sending me a book with just a whole bunch of scriptures?
Yeah. It's not a book like it's stuff to read, you know. So I mean, in the future, my plans are to make it a book,
the full book,
a full book, like
Yes.
a book, you know. But
on this platform, the whole identity teaching is going to be
all
there.
of these pages are going to be in there, and I'll probably have an option if you want a physical one sent to you, if you know. But like I said, I'm figuring out this platform that allows online schools to function, and I'm just still putting it together, guys. So just bear with me, and
it's a lot more tedious than what we, you know.
but once it's in, it's going to be nice, sleek, professional, efficient, you know, and that way it's not all over the place. I don't want to do no Mickey Mouse stuff. I want it done right. And that way we could build a platform, because this is for future leaders. This is for people that are called to lead, and I want it done right.
Amen.
Sorry.
Stop it.
Okay.
I was commanding that cough to stop.
So have a blessed day.
Yes.
We will see you tomorrow.
Hasta luego. Hasta luego todos. Que tengan una buena noche.
What she said.
Y que duerman muy bien y los miramos mañana.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Talk to them in Spanish, babe.
I don't want to.
Come on.
Hola.
Hola. Okay. Buenas noches.
All right. Bye.